Hey, welcome to the podcast. Today, I want to dive into four key strategies that can help your offers get accepted in what I would call a unique post COVID market. Even though COVID was a few years ago, a lot of parts of the country is experiencing multiple offer scenarios still. So, today, I want to dive into four strategies. I live in the Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky area, and we're experiencing still high levels of multiple offer situations when it comes to listings. I assume if you're listening to this podcast, seeing the title, that you're also interested in how you can help your buyers get their offers accepted. And so I truly believe there's an art to this. Like there are agents that can adapt to changing environments, and just implementing some simple tactics into their tool belt will allow them to be miles ahead of those agents that just simply send offers and just kind of hope and pray that they get them accepted. Okay, so tactic number one, and I would say agents either do this really, really well or they just honestly suck at it, is relationships first, deals follow. So, tactic one is relationships first, deals follow. So, what do I mean by that? Well, what if I told you that one of the most beneficial things that you could do as an agent is build relationships with other agents in your marketplace? Like, think about it for a second. If you are the listing agent for one of your clients' homes and you get in multiple offer situations, like, are you really gonna wanna work with someone that you've never heard of, don't know anything about them? Or are you gonna be more likely to recommend an agent to your clients that you've worked with before and have a really good relationship? And you know their work ethic, you know how well they're able to help get their clients offer and deal to the closing table. Like, in my opinion, there's really no comparison. But how do we do that? Because when we're in those multiple offer situations, and if everything was equal, we would be more likely to work with people that we know, like, and trust and have a good relationship with. But we know that in most situations, all things aren't equal when it comes to multiple offers. So I believe before you write the offer for your client, you call and ask some really good questions and get to know that agent a little bit more. Like, we live in an instant gratification world, and it's very easy for us just to hear that our clients want to make an offer and then immediately start writing that offer and send it over to the agent. But if we just take some time and slow things down a little bit to work effectively, then we should be in conversation with that listing agent to write the contract. Uh, but why is that? Well, first, when you get to reach out to the listing agent, you get to show your professionalism and work ethic to them. And that's major. That's really huge. Regardless of if you know them or not, the key is just calling and having a conversation surrounding them and their clients. It's having the right conversation and asking the right questions. So let me help you by giving you some questions that you should always be asking a listing agent so that you can not only best help your clients, but also show a high level of professionalism and start building a relationship with them so that when they present your offer to their clients, you stand out among the others. So here's a question that I would probably ask a listing agent. Hey, I'm working on preparing an offer for you and your sellers. When I send it over, will you be reviewing just our offer, or will you be reviewing our offers and some other offers with the seller? It's a little less direct than just calling and asking, "Hey, are you in multiple offer situation?" It's really easy for the agent to say no in that situation or yes in that situation. So why do we make it an open-ended question? We make it an open-ended question so that we can pass the ball over to the other party and they can talk and explain. It's very important when we ask questions, both with other agents, with our clients, with prospective clients, that we ask open-ended questions. And so it just allows the other side of the party to explain a little bit. And if you find out that you're competing, so if they say, "Yep, we're going to be reviewing your offer and also some other offers," I would say, like, great, other than price, because if we ask them what the client is looking for, they're always going to say price. So for me, I take price out of the conversation because I want to find out what else is important to the other party. So the question or the follow-up question that I would ask if I find out I'm in multiple offers is, "Hey, other than price, what are your sellers looking for in an offer that would help them in the decision-making process in choosing an offer that is right and perfect for them?" It is a great open-ended question that helps you gain intel into the situation. And what it allows you to do is now go back to your clients, your buyers, and provide them with all the information that they need to put a great offer together, or at least a more competitive offer together than if you didn't know the information otherwise. One last question that I would ask a listing agent is, "Hey, before I let you go, what would be the best way for me to send you our offer?" I know it's a silly question, and some of us use systems like DocuSign and Dotloop and other electronic signing platforms. And sometimes the listing agents don't have those platforms, and it's actually a nuisance for them to get your offer on an electronic platform and download it and throw it into their platform. Or it's just easier if you ask them, "Hey, what would be the best way for me to send you our offer?" Most of the time, they're just going to say email. But again, you're taking that extra step that I think stands out, and it makes you seem more professional than any other agent out there. Why is it important for us to have a strong conversation with the listing agent? Because it inevitably helps our buyer clients in the long run. Like, how many times do we get asked this question from our clients? "Well, what do you think we should do?" We get that question all the time from our buyer clients when we're writing offers, or, "Hey, what do you think we should write?" Or, "What do you think about this?" And I believe if we're asking really, really good questions right out the gate to our listing agents for the homes that we want to make offers on, it brings us empowerment to be able to share with our buyers, "Hey, I actually talked to the listing agent and this is what they shared with me." Like, the clients would love to have, a couple days of post occupancy because they're moving across the country, or whatever it is, whatever the answer they give is, it allows you to go back and have that really, really good conversation, because we want to write a really clean offer. And what we'll find out in another tactic later on, like, the cleanest offer that we can write right out the gate gives us the best chance of winning in multiples. I hope that makes sense. Knowledge is power. Having the right knowledge about the right situation and being able to share that with our clients on the buy side is extremely valuable. The last tip I want to share within this tactic before we move to the second one is this: know who knows who. Like, if you are about to write an offer to a listing agent and you don't even know who they are, find out who they know, or ask around the most important people that are in your life and figure out if anybody that you knows them. Like, what if your team leader, if you're on a team, knows that agent, or your broker, or the lender? Like, if most of the time, there's going to be a connection that you can find from someone that you know that knows that other agent, and build a connection through that person. Like, as a team leader, if I had an agent come up to me and say, "Hey, do you know X agent in our marketplace?" And I say yes, and they say, "Oh, I'm about to make an offer for them." And if they ask me, "Hey, would you mind reaching out to that agent and putting a good word in for us so that it would help our buyer clients get our offer written or accepted?" I'm absolutely doing that. Like, I'm definitely going to help those people who ask for it. So I would say your broker, your lenders, your insurance agents, your other agents in your office, your team leaders, like, any connection that you have that's going to allow you to make and bridge a connection to the listing agent, use them. That's why they're there, in my opinion. Okay, so that's tactic number one. Tactic number two, and this is one tactic that I learned from a great friend of mine, Doug Edrington out of Chattanooga, Tennessee. Doug was a coach for our team, and helped kind of grow our agents and team when we were coaching through him, and we still keep contact. And I just look up to him so much. He's all about storytelling. And so tactic two is, storytellers always win in setting client expectations. So remember back in tactic one, We gathered that some great information about the house by asking questions to the listing agent on what we could do to make our offer stand out in the noise of other multiple offers. And we need to share that with our buyer so that we can help them make a really, really informed decision and give insight. So, how do we do that? And we do that through storytelling. Storytelling is a powerful way to convey complex ideas and market realities to our clients in a relatable manner. We can use it as a persuasive tool from real world scenarios. For complex situations, stories can be used to address common client objections like pricing, deal terms, market conditions, you name it. So if I can tell a story about how a client that lost a property because of ABC could have done XYZ differently to get their offer accepted, then through that story, I'm hoping to give reality to my clients or the buyer clients on something that they might not realize or see otherwise. Like by sharing stories from our past experiences, it helps establish trust with the other party. We as humans tend to do what other successful people do. Like we're creatures of habit and we follow patterns of success. And so, if I can utilize stories, I can help lead clients down a path of success, or at least help them form opinions and suggestions and help them come to a realization that might work best for them. Stories provide context, they help clients see the bigger picture, and a well told, aligned story can make the client more invested in the process and more likely and willing to take the agent's advice more seriously. Stories can reinforce key messages that need to be conveyed or risk that might need to be avoided. So, one thing to note is stories are not just me sharing, my experiences and my thoughts and maybe stories from like who I've heard from in the past. Stories can take different forms of media. So, like podcasts can be stories. Articles can be stories. Videos can be stories. Obviously, the human voice can be stories as well. And so, the most logical and practical thing that we can do in sharing different stories to our clients is send them multiple different sources of a story. Like I can share an article with them and also tell them a story about a past client. And that creates, I think, more leverage by helping them understand the viewpoints that I have and the expertise and experience that I bring to the table. It isn't just a communication tool. Like storytelling is a strategy guide to our clients getting the best experience to help them make their decisions. I promise you, if you can incorporate storytelling into your tool belt, the possibilities, not only with your professional career, but just life in general, I promise you, it greatly enhances what you're able to bring and do just in life in general. But when we provide stories to a client, the main goal, it's not to get your like what you want out of the situation. Like the question that you should be asking yourself and helping them answer is how can I help them, my clients, my buyers, make their best decision? Because it's all about them. Like we get to be the byproduct of writing their offer and what they feel is the best for their situation. So notice that the key phrase in that question is for them. That's very important. It's not about me. It's not about you as the agent and what you think. It's helping the client self-discover what's right for them by providing them with the tools to do so. And storytelling does that. So here's my advice. When providing stories to your clients, try and provide at least two versions of a story, whether through voice or articles or video, because the more proof that you can provide, the more likely it'll help them come to the right decision for them. And most of the time we want that right decision to align with us because we're trying to help them, but it needs to be their right decision. The reason why storytelling is one of the most useful tools that we can use for our business is because it ultimately helps us in setting realistic expectations with the other party. And that's very important. Like with this tactic is we want to help them set realistic expectations. If you're a new agent in this business, or you just don't have a lot of experiences because you haven't walked down this road before, then lean into the stories that you hear from the industry. Like your broker, I can guarantee has a playbook of stories that they or he would be willing to share with you. Your team leader, I can promise you, has a storybook. Like they've experienced a lot. Most team leaders have a great storybook that they can share. And other agents in your brokerage or on your team or in your office, like they experience things day in and day out, so take note of them. Like as you hear things, take note of it so that you can share it with others. And I get that it's hard to set realistic expectations with clients that don't have realistic expectations. Like if you've been in the business long enough, you'll be able to relate to that. We've all had clients like that. I've had clients like that. It's like no matter what I say or do, like it just doesn't matter. But sometimes we have to let clients you do their own devices, so to say, and learn through a couple of trial and error missed opportunities, and that's okay. Like eventually, most of the time, they come around and lean into your advice and understanding because they know that the path that they're walking down on their own just isn't working. And then they'll start understanding the stories that you're sharing with them. So, to those clients, I would say stay curious, like be positive, provide value, keep telling stories, and it will all work out in the end, like it always does. Because they have to become open minded to hearing you out and hearing what you have to say. So now that we have the intel from the listing agent, we've utilized the tool of storytelling and stories to provide proof to help set client expectations and allow them the ability to come to the right decision for them on their own. What's next? Well, this leads to tactic three. So, the moment that all the prep work that you've done in advance comes to fruition is actually putting pen to paper or keyboard to screen and writing that offer. And tactic three is clean offers make for easy decisions. Over the course of my real estate career, I've learned that there's two types of agents when writing offers. There are those agents that fully understand the contract, the language, the verbiage, how to explain it to their clients, how to help them understand what it means so that they can put the best offer forward. And then there are those that don't. Like when you see their offer, you kind of question like, do they understand what they're writing? To me, the worst impression that you can give an agent on the other side is a contract that is just absolutely poorly written. It's carelessness. It doesn't show a level of professionalism. Like when I receive terribly written contracts from a buyer's agent, I kind of feel sorry for the buyers. Like I'm disheartened that that agent doesn't understand their profession and what they do day in and day out to help their buyers have that best chance of winning in a situation where they're competing with others. So, in multiple offer situations, when we're competing, here's the lens or filter that I want you to write your offers through. When submitting this offer, does what I have written make it easy for the seller to sign and accept and move forward with? Like the more challenges and obstacles we bring to the table, it makes it less likely that we're going to get our offer accepted because we want it easy. Sellers want it easy. We want it easy as agents too, and you want it easy as the consumer. So make it easy for that other party to just move forward with your best offer. Now, I understand, like that's easier said than done. We have to write special stipulations or conditions or contingencies within contracts. Even in multiple offer situations, it's just sometimes unavoidable to send a crispy clean offer that has no extra additives in there. But we can take control of that situation and write conditions and stipulations and contingencies with extreme clarity and without ambiguity. A Austrian philosopher by the name of Ludwig Wittgenstein said, "Everything that can be said clearly." And if we take that to heart and understand that, then we can get our thoughts down and what the client needs down on paper, and we can make it clear for the other party to understand us. As a team leader, as an agent, We look at many offers. I look at many offers from my team and the listings that we have, and those buyers looking for their chance to win out and make that house their home. I look at many offers from our buyers, from our agents that are writing offers for their homes that they're looking to get on. And sometimes we just come across what I would call head scratcher contracts. Like, I understand what the agent was trying to say when they were writing it, but how they wrote it just came out extremely confusing. Like, any good listing agent is gonna read a head scratcher contract and understand what they were trying to say, but it was written so poorly that the whole contract is a risk. And so what do? They have to counter you to fix the mistake so that way their clients and them feel comfortable moving forward. Um, the best way that I can describe this is, have you ever had an idea or a thought pop into your head, or maybe you have to write an email or do something where you're getting your thoughts from your mind out on paper or out on a screen? Have you ever gone back and reread that to yourself before and you realize, wow, that sounds so confusing? Because we tend to think faster than what we can type. I mean, unless you're like a Jedi and can type at 200 words per minute, we tend to think faster than we can get our thoughts down on paper. And so if you go back and reread some of the things you write, even writing this podcast, like I went back and reread some of the things that I put in my script and I had to rewrite it because it just didn't make sense. How often do we do that in our contracts? Like we can be in a rush, we're under the gun, we have to write something pretty quickly. And the way that I translated it onto paper made sense at first because it was my thoughts, but when I reread it, it didn't read correctly. And how often does that happen in writing offers? I would guess it probably happens more than we would like to admit. So here's a tip that I find would be extremely helpful. Have someone else review your offer before you send it out. Like your team leader, another agent on your team, let them review that offer and have them ask the question, or you ask the question to them, does this make sense? Is this clear? And it's okay for them to tell you, no, I would rewrite that or I would do it this way. It's all a checks and balances, and that's okay. Honestly, if you don't have those as resources, you should use ChatGPT. Like AI is very good at things like this. I mean, it can read things, it can decipher text. And so just open up ChatGPT or any other AI that you're using. If you're using Google's or Meta's, like it doesn't matter. Just open it up and here's the prompt that I would use. I would say to ChatGPT, you are to act as an editor, specifically for writing grammar to be easily understood at a fifth grade reading level. Edit this contract verbiage for context, grammar, punctuation, formatting, and readability with explanation. Keep the same tone and use of voice. Show the results in table format with my original paragraph on the left and the suggested changes on the right. It's amazing what ChatGPT could do to help you write clearer and easily understandable offers. Imagine how embarrassing it would be to get a counter offer back from a really smart and savvy listing agent, and they essentially had to rewrite your contract because it was so poorly written, because it wasn't acceptable. And now you have to present that contract as a counter back to your clients. And now your clients are second guessing your ability to do your, like, it's just a terrible situation. And then deep down, you're thinking, man, I really F this up. So no one wants that. You don't want that. I don't want that for you. Your clients don't want that. I can promise you the listing agent doesn't want that. And so write clear offers that are easily understandable. Remember, everything that can be said clearly. The fourth and final tactic that I think really good agents do in multiple offer situations, and I would argue that this is the one that's the most easy to not do when dealing with multiple offers, is actually what happens if your offer doesn't get accepted. Like we did everything perfectly. We followed the three previous tactics. We've set ourselves and our clients up for the most ideal opportunity in getting their offer accepted. But we realize that, like, that sometimes isn't the reality. We can't win them all, and that's okay. So the fourth tactic is feedback fuels future wins. Being a proactive agent after missing an opportunity is what sets successful agents apart. Like, don't just inform your client, educate them on why their offer didn't make it past the acceptance phase, like didn't win, and help them adjust for the next time. So I'm going to say two different things. So we're going to role play a little bit on what a conversation might look like after getting a call from a listing agent that our clients didn't get their offer accepted. And you let me know which one's more helpful to the buyer. So this is role play number one. Hey, Joe, Joe's the buyer. I'm calling to let you know an update on our offer. So I just heard back from the listing agent. Unfortunately, we didn't get the house. I'm really sorry, guys. They most likely are going to say, "Oh man, we really love the house," or like they're probably going to show some sadness, like they really wanted the house. And what's the most popular question that gets asked to us in that situation? Why didn't our offer get accepted? Or why wasn't ours chosen? Or some other rendition of that question. The role play back into it. That's a really good question, Joe. And I really don't know. There must have been an offer better than ours. I'm assuming it might have been price or something along those lines, but the listing agent didn't really share that with me. I would argue that most conversations that agents have with their buyer clients off a missed opportunity is a rendition of that script in some form or fashion. So let's go back into another role play. Let's compare it to this. Again, Joe's the buyer. Hey, Joe, calling to let you know, giving an update on that offer that we just submitted last night. It wasn't accepted. I just got the call from the listing agent, and I actually spent some time on the phone with them, just asking some details and questions that I thought would be really beneficial for you. And so our offer, it was competitive. Like they let me know that, and they ended up just choosing another offer with whatever the reason is. Like just insert whatever reason that listing agent told you on why our offer didn't get accepted right into that space. I even asked, go back into the role play. I even asked the agent if there was any insight that we could know about the offer and insert whatever insight that is. Joe, I'm really sorry that we didn't get it this time around, but I know feedback like this is helpful for when we write our next offer, and I know it's going to be stronger next time. Like, did you hear the difference in how proactive that agent could be by just asking really easy questions when we realize that our offers don't get accepted? So, how do we achieve this for our clients? Well, it's by also having conversations with the other agent. Here's one of my favorite questions to ask a listing agent if I am told that our clients didn't get the house. Hey, agent, I really appreciate your sellers, considering our offer. I know my clients really wanted the house, but I want to say congrats. Like, awesome that you and your sellers were able to choose an offer that's right for them. What was the deciding factor that your sellers considered when selecting the offer that they went with? And I would just shut up and let them answer the question. And then before you let them go, I think if you can only ask two questions to them, you could ask two very powerful questions. The last question, the ending question I would ask is, hey, like, my mission is to coach and help my clients write better offers and more competitive offers the next time. Is there any feedback or any insights that you can give me to help them in writing a better offer the next time around? Again, I can use this in storytelling. Like I can go back to the agent or to my clients and share with them all the things that were told for me from the buyer. I promise you that this last tactic is like a super hack. That if you can master being able to have feedback to fuel future offers, it'll be the most beneficial thing that you can do for your client. And it still builds rapport, and also it builds relationships, and it goes back to that first tactic with that listing agent. So that's the four tactics. It's relationships first, deals follow. Storytellers always win in setting client expectations. Clean offers make for easy decisions, and feedback fuels future wins. If you're an agent listening to this and you fall into the camp thinking to yourself, man, I've written so many offers this month, and I've lost more than I've gotten accepted. Hey, don't worry. Like, you're not alone. And I can promise you that. Take some time, do some reflection and education with those tactics. I promise you they will be helpful for you. I would go far to say is leverage someone in your life to help you, whether it's team leader, broker, agent, friend, whomever it is. Like, take some previous contracts that you've lost this month and share it with them and say, hey, can you check this offer out and let me know maybe what you would have done differently? Like, use it as a learning experience. Let other people speak into your business. I can assure you won't regret it. Every offer is a chance to improve. That's it for the podcast today. Remember, everything that can be said clearly. So go out there, implement, and be proactive. And I hope you start winning more deals for your clients. Catch you in the next episode.